Mama.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel, Ninja Mommy. So can non-Muslims read the Quran? Yes, they can. However, let's differentiate between the actual Quran and the translation of the Quran. These two things are not the same thing. This is the actual Quran, the word of God, the word of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the one that was revealed to the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam over the course of 23 years. This is the translation of this Quran right here. You guys, we believe that the Quran is perfect, flawless, perfection, no mistakes whatsoever. This is the word of God. It's final. It's never been changed. This is it. However, the translation of the Quran might not be perfect, might not be flawless, and this is not the word of God. This is just mere translation by humans. We as Muslims do not consider the translation of the Quran to be the word of God. So the translation can be in any language. It can be in Hebrew, it can be in English, it can be in German, whatever language you can think of. The actual Quran is always in Arabic. And here is what it looks like. In order for anyone to read the Arabic Quran, you have to know how to read Arabic. So for non-Muslims who know how to read Arabic, you can most certainly read the Arabic Quran. But majority of the ones that follow me or subscribe to my channel do not know how to read Arabic, so you guys will end up reading the translation of the Quran. So let's talk about that. There are so many translations of the Quran, guys, and I will write them in the description, and I will provide links for Amazon on some of the good translations that are reliable, that I personally think are amazing, that my Mufti Sahib or scholars that I know think that are really good and reliable as well. So you guys can definitely check those translations out. There are many different types of translations. Some translations will have the Arabic and the English with it. Some will just have English. For example, this one just has English and then explanation on the bottom. And some translations will only have the translation of the Quran. They won't have any Arabic. They won't have any explanation regarding the verse or the chapter. It will literally just be translation. Also guys, for the purpose of this video, I'm going to be referring to the actual Quran as the Quran. And I'm going to be referring to the translation of the Quran as the translation of the Quran. So whenever I say Quran, I mean the actual Arabic Quran, and whenever I say the translation, means the translation of the Quran. So there are different rules for reading the actual Quran versus the translation, and I will briefly go over the rules regarding both of them. Rule number 1, you do need wudu or ablution in order to touch or read the Quran. You don't need ablution or wudu in order to read the translation of the Quran. You don't need the hijab or the headscarf in order to read the Quran or the translation. However, it is recommended when you're reading the Quran to put a headscarf on. For the translation, it's your choice. For the non-Muslim women out there who are on their menstrual cycle, so if you are on your period, it is not recommended that you touch the Holy Quran or even read it. However, you can read the translation when you're on your menstrual cycle. There's nothing wrong with that. If you do own a copy of the actual Quran, it is recommended that you keep it at the highest place in your house. It should not be below anything. There should not be any other books on top of it. It should not be on the floor. You should treat it with the utmost respect, because we believe that this is the word of God. This is word of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and we treat it with the utmost respect and honor and dignity, because this is amazing. And yeah, you have to treat it with the utmost respect, guys. If you're reading the translation, you should still respect it. But you can treat it like any other book, but you know, just don't throw it or put it on the ground or stuff like that. But still treat it with respect, because this is a book. But the respect that the actual Quran deserves is much higher. Okay, so those were just a few guidelines and rules to keep in mind, guys, when you're reading the actual Quran versus the translation. Now let's get into the actual reading. The Quran, guys, is very deep, like so deep that you can spend your entire lifetime trying to understand the meaning of it and you will still fall short. That's how deep it is. People have legit spent their entire life studying the Quran and they still will say that there's so much more that we need to know and learn. The actual Quran is very, very, very deep, guys. So when you are reading the translation of the Quran, keep that in mind, that the translation will never, ever, ever justify the deepness, the deep understanding, and the beauty of the Quran. Another thing to keep in mind is that every verse that is revealed in the Quran is revealed in a certain context. So the Quran was revealed to the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam over the course of 23 years, guys. Every single ayah means a verse in Arabic. Every single ayah has a certain story behind it. I personally highly recommend this book if you are starting to read the Quran and this is your first Quran and you want to read it, because this one has the Arabic and it has the English and it has a little explanation behind every verse. And it's a very, very brief explanation, guys, because the explanations of a single ayah could go so deep. For example, there have been volumes and volumes and volumes of books written on the meaning and on the understanding of the Quran. For example, there's this one particular book, the Ma'arif al-Quran, and it's 8 volumes on just brief understanding of each ayah, each chapter, each verse. Then there's this another amazing book, and this is a shorter book based on a very, very large book. So this is 10 volumes on the understanding and the meanings of the verses and the chapters of the Quran. So as you might have guessed it by now, that you can't just read a single translation of the Quran and be like, yes, I know what the Quran says, now I can go tell everyone this is what the Quran says, you're wrong, I'm right. Like, nah, it doesn't work like that. Another important thing to keep in mind, guys, is that you cannot take any verse or any chapter out of the Quran literally. Like, you can't just take the literal meaning of the English translation and say, this is it, like this is what it says, OMG. Like, no, you have to read the story behind it. You have to understand the context. You have to understand why it was revealed, where it was revealed, for what purpose, and all of that jazz in order to understand it better. So me, Sidra, highly recommend that all the non-Muslims that are watching this, that are thinking about reading the Quran or reading the translation, that you read it with explanation. If you want, just in the first sitting, just, read the entire translation and then come back around and read the translation with the explanation the second time around, and then read it again and again and again and again and again as many times as you want, because the more you read it, the many different books that you read it from, the more understanding you will get, a deeper grasp you will have of the entire Quran's translation. Alright guys, that's all I have for today. I hope you guys learned something new today and it was beneficial. If it was, don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't already. If you have subscribed, Jazakallah khair. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward you tremendously for it. I release new videos every Thursday, so don't forget to come back next week. I'm also on Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok, and I just created my Twitter account. So you guys, let's get connected. Until next time, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Bye guys.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Yo, they can't talk back to you. They're just